Hello, this is Witch Nikki, and today I thought I'd read to you a book by Patricia Coffin, and some of you won't know her because she died May 30th, 1974, and this is a very old copy of the book. It doesn't have the cover on it anymore, it's just green. Patricia Coffin was an editor of Look and Life magazine for many years, and she was a painter and a poet and a writer and an editor. And I read this book when I was very young. I was about 10 years old. That's still pretty young, I think. This book was copyright in 1969. The text copyright and illustrations 1969 by Peter Parnell. And it was written by Patricia Coffin. Now, this is not a very scary story. It's a little bit like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Sort of. It has a couple of girls that travel through a doorway into a little land. They take a journey. It's not a very big book, but it will take me a few of these videos to do because it has 12 chapters. And it doesn't have very many pictures. This book is called The Gruesome Green Witch. And here's one picture, but that's not very scary, is it? I'll show you some of the pictures now because when I read, I won't be showing you pictures after pictures because, and here she is, the Gruesome Green Witch. I hope you could see. The Gruesome Green Witch, and this here happens to be a mirror, and it's a picture of her back. Now, I don't want to spoil things here, but if you think that this story might scare you, maybe a grown-up should look at it first and see. There's nothing that scary in it, even though I have a very high tolerance for spooky things. I really haven't seen too many things that scare me, like really scare me. I mean, it startles me, you know, like startling is like, blah. Something that happens unexpectedly. Blah. See? What was that, you know? So if any, that's just a reaction that we have to something coming close to us or surprising us or something like that. But being scared is different. Being scared is like you're just so nervous and you're frightened and you're just shaking and very fearful, and it doesn't go away until you really can calm down somehow. Well, some people need to face their fears, and like I said, I was 10 years old when she published this book, and I was probably about 10 when I read it. This book, my daughter Emiko found online because it wasn't at the libraries anymore. You won't be able to find this at the libraries anymore. Unless it's a library that will still carry books that are no longer in print anymore. It's not, you know, in publication. It's not out there in the circulation. It's been removed. So a lot of these books got removed or sold at library sales, and then they were resold online by people trying to make some money. And my daughter was very lucky to find this copy, and I'm very fortunate to have it. It's It's one of the most expensive books that I own. I'll just say that. And thank you, Emiko, for buying it for me. Today we have a new name on our list of fans and subscribers. Julia, Kayleen, Aiden, Kaylee, Kennedy, Ginger, River, Jordan, and Rihanna. Love you all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to read as many chapters as I can in my 30 minutes. So today I'm kind of setting it up a little bit, so I did some extra talking beforehand. But I'll show you the pictures when I come to them, if there are any. Sometimes it's just a little decoration at the top of the page like this. See? So, like I said, there are, and then like this one here. I always just thought she was so beautiful. I'm not a big fan of the stigma of green witches being evil. Actually, a green witch is someone who believes in living in the green lifestyle of using herbs, planting plants, loving nature, things like that. They're usually herbalists who use herbs for healing and things like that. And usually they're not bad. So when you hear of a green witch, a real one, it is a good person who is, you know, recycling things and very conscious about the earth and things like that. So that's a good thing. But these books, like also you'll hear about a green witch in The Wizard of Oz, remember? And she was very spooky looking too and had a big nose and warts, and I don't like that stigma. Later on today, I'm going to a children's Halloween party. I'm pretty much going to dress like this, except I'm going to find a skirt to wear. I'm wearing some pants now, but but I'm going to change my top and wear something. I'll wear my hat, and I don't put makeup on. I try not to look spooky. I just look like me, because I don't like scaring people with being a witch. I don't like, be scared of me. I am a very good and kind person. And it's good that you know your qualities and what's good about you. And I think I have those good qualities. Many of my friends have told me, and I just know it. I don't go around doing bad things to anybody. I don't harm animals, and I guess some people could probably say that I am a green witch. I love trees, and I could feel them, their energy, and I feel the energy of the earth and of water very deeply. The energy and the element, I would say, are the earth and water kind of go with me. All of them do, but because there's 5 elements, and that's why we have you'll see the star, I can't make a star, up and down like this, and usually with a circle around it, okay? That's called a pentagram, and it is not evil. You will see that on a star, and I don't have one with me. Oh yes, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Here we go. I actually have 2 on this ear. We have, oh, this is an owl, but then the pentacle is up here. Right there, see? So you can see that the star has 5 points. 5. Earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Some people don't always see that, but they have different beliefs, and there's different beliefs out there. But I do believe in the five-pointed star has 5 elements. And when you get older, or whenever you want, you can do some research on that. But make sure that you're using a good source. If you don't know, please ask me, either the comments or write to me. My email is listed in the About Me part. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook also. I have a page on Facebook as well as being my profile page, and I have the reality of being a modern day witch, which is where I do ask people to ask me questions, and if they want to. And sometimes they ask me in private because they're kind of embarrassed or shy to ask those kind of questions. You know, they're not bad questions or anything, just people might think, why are they asking those questions? Well, there's all kinds of questions that come to me, believe me. And I'm going to try not to talk too much about those. But I have had so many questions, and some do hurt my feelings. But they hurt my feelings because people are still not educated properly about what good witches are and what we do. And I'm trying to put myself out here to educate people, not so that you will go out and become a witch. No, just that you will know. And then you'll be one person that will say, that's not true. I heard something different. And then just because you hear it from me, please go out and investigate it on your own and open up your mind to the universe and receive your answers like I have done throughout all of my years. It's taken me a long time to ask questions to the universe and receive answers. And when you do that, you will know what I'm talking about. Because some people will just say, hey, what does it mean to be a witch? I'm waiting. I can't hear you. It's not like that. It's a feeling that comes back to you, like knowledge. It's not like being scared anymore. You're finally like a light. They say like a light bulb goes on, and you're like, wow. So this energy that you have, that's the element of spirit going out there into the universe and looking around for the truth. It's better than Google, believe me. It takes longer than Google, but you will get an answer. Yes, you will. Shall we start this book? Now, please, if an adult listens to this with me and they don't like it, well, don't let your children listen to it. It's okay. But this is about 2 girls, and they're probably about maybe 10 or 11 or something like that. So I figure if the kid's in the book, usually it's an okay book to read. And I would never read anything here unless I told you up front I'm going to read something that's not appropriate for children. But I read this as a child. And someday I'm going to let Ginger read it very carefully. She just hasn't asked me to read it yet, but if she did, she's busy reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So she's like, her level of reading's gone beyond this too. But this is not just a read by yourself book. This is one that you should read with somebody. If you're lucky enough to find a copy. So that's why I'm going to read it here. These copies are very hard to come by. The first chapter is Privacy is a Green Closet. I'm not going to hold the book up in front of me. just a little bit so I could see it. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Puffin. Her real name was Patricia Crawford Slater, and she had a girlfriend named Morrison. Puffin's hair was pale blonde and looked like a sheet of gold foil when it was brushed, and like a haystack when it wasn't. Mole had short, dark hair that was soft as fur. They went to the same school, and they were in the same class. Mole was going to spend the weekend with Puffin in the country. Her father brought her to Puffin's apartment along with her plaid overnight bag, her sack of school books, and her doll hat box. "Good Lord," said Puffin's father. "Are you both taking doll cases to the country? There's hardly room in the station wagon for the chair we've had recaned and the clean laundry and our suitcases and Sydney." Sydney was Slater's khaki-colored Great Dane, who worried so about being left behind that he got his leash tangled around everyone's legs, causing some confusion. "The dolls are the reason they are spending the weekend together," said Puffin's mother. So that settled that. When they got to the street, Sydney bolted to a strange station wagon, got in, and sat down. The lady in the front seat gave a yelp. She yelped again when Sydney leaned over and licked her face. Splat! Mr. Slater got him out of the lady's car, saying all sorts of unkind things. On the way up to the country, the girls talked in the back seat. "What I can't stand," Mole was saying, "is never having any privacy." "I know," answered Puffin. "Parents are always hanging all over you and telling you to pick up something or put something away or finish your homework or brush your teeth. It's disgusting." "One ought to be allowed to get away by oneself once in a while," agreed Mole. "Girls," said Mrs. Slater, "I can't help hearing what you say. I've just read an article that says every child should have 2 hours of privacy a day. They should be put in a room with musical instrument or a paint set or a science kit." "Gee," exclaimed both girls, "what fun! And TV set too?" "No," said Mrs. Slater. "The article says no TV." "Disgusting," said the girls. "However," said Puffin's mother, I don't see how this could work if the child had homework to do. And I doubt a child could teach herself the clarinet or how to do an experiment with a Bunsen burner. But I do agree that you are old enough, Puffin, to have some time to yourself. And do my homework by myself? You're not supposed to help me." "Okay," said Mrs. Slater. "We'll start tomorrow. 2 hours to yourself tomorrow afternoon." "Where?" the girls wanted to know. "In the green room," said Mrs. Slater, referring to the small upstairs sitting sewing room, which was also Matt's study. When he was home from boarding school, Matthew was Puffin's 17-year-old brother, who also liked his privacy, especially when he and his friends listened to each other's latest records or composed protest songs on their guitars. Puffin always wondered why he called the green room his study. "Oh, good," she whispered to Mole. We can hide in the closet. It's full of hockey sticks and baseball bats, you know, things. So that was the end of chapter 1. Now, the next chapter is a little bit longer. I think I can do it. The truth about trolls. You can see this is just a picture. It's in black and white. Looks like a cave, doesn't it? We'll see. At 2 that Saturday afternoon, Puffin and Mole shut themselves up in the green room. That's the extra special time when grown-ups get sleepy and don't bother the children. It's a time for curling up in tree houses in summer and closets in winter. The room was indeed deliciously green. The wall facing the casement window covered the mural of tropical plants through which peered like a likeness of Tigger, the family cat. From the big old sofa, slip-covered, a leafy chintz, you could see the back meadow of the water company woods. The girls put their school books and homework notebooks in a neat pile on Matt's desk and dove for the closet. Puffin pulled out the door and gave a gasp. It was full of fine, twiggy, furry grass, bluebells, and jewelweed, and maidenhair fern, and roots of trees. In fact, it wasn't a closet at all. It was the beginning of a long, mysterious tunnel with a bluish, greenish, glimmery light at the end. I wish that this had been in color, don't you? But just imagine it. This is what she's seeing when she went into the closet. And at the very end, I don't know if you could see the little guy sitting in there, but we're going to find out about him. Shut the door, squeaked Mole fearlessly, and let's go. At the end of the tunnel, they came out into a forest, all shimmering and sparkling, sort of like being underwater or in the woods when it has stopped raining. There was lichen, a mossy fungus, all over the floor. I love that. And there were hundreds of rocks covered with silvery gray growth that looked like and felt like a deep, soft carpet. There were orange mushrooms and yellow toadstools and bayberry bushes and explosions of beautiful feathery ferns. It was magic, pure and simple. I bet this place is full of gnomes and trolls and things like that, said Puffin. In fact, I think I see a troll. Who, me? Exclaimed a small mustard-colored figure who was leaning against a toadstool. Me, a troll? Listen, lady, when you see a troll, you'll know it. Trolls are big, and trolls are fierce, and usually trolls are very mad. I'm a trumpet. What's that? Asked Mole, trying to get the tongue of her sneaker back where it belongs. In bending over, she got a good look at the little creature. He was pudgy and gnarled, and with bright eyes and bristling crew cut. He was smoking a pipe made out of baby acorn cup. He trumped and pronounced, oh, here it is, "Too mighty," he said. Okay, so that's pronounced too mighty. It looks like trumped. Anyways, I'm glad it's not trumped. True mighty is the Scandinavian version of an Irish leprechaun. Get that? Sort of a fairy? asked Puffin, fascinated. Nah, I'm no fairy lady. She lives deeper in forest than that one. I'm I'm just a good old Swedish tumity. Tumity. This is a new word for me. I probably had trouble with it too. I've never heard of one, but I'm going to look it up when I'm finished. Came over by mistake. Got mixed up in the immigrants' luggage more than 300 years ago, and here I am. A bunch of us came over and settled in Delaware. Since then, we've spread out. She probably instigated the whole thing to get herself a free trip. Anyway, that's why you have real trolls in this forest. They're from over there, too. Just then, there was a frightfully rumbling sound, and the earth literally shook under their feet. A small rock pool nearby dashed about like water in ice cube tray. The noise sounded as though 1,000 boards were crashing down on someone's attic. In other words, like thunder. The girls were scared. There's a troll for you, said the Trumpy. Mad as anything, and he can't control his temper, trying to get away. Away from what? From the rock. He's been turned into a rock because he can't get into his mountain before daybreak. Trolls are all sizes, but mostly big. They came up from the inside of the earth during the night, and they are not home. If they are not home by sunrise, they turn into rocks or even hills. This is a big one. Sometimes the really strong ones get loose. They have terrible tempers. They can even cause much damage. As an avalanche or a tropical hurricane, the roaring turned into rippling sound of stones sliding, branches breaking. It reminded Puffin of a hurricane when they had once experienced called Harold. Let's get out of here. He is loose, exclaimed the Trumpy, and sticking his pipe back in his pocket, scurried under the mulberry bush. The girls started for the entrance of the tunnel when they heard an awful squeal from a blueberry bush. Ouch! Ouch! Doggone it! I'm burning up. He'll smell me out. Help! Help! He put his pipe in his pocket lit, whispered Puffin. The silly thing, we better put him out. And she tore off her sneaker, tipped it into a little rock pool, and poured the contents over the blueberry bush. Help! Blubbled the Trumpy, beating his way out of the bush. Now I'm drowning. But when he saw Puffin with her wet sneaker in hand, he started to laugh. What a good girl you are. Such presence of mind for a female. I really was on fire. You are a true friend. You may call me T for Trumpy. Here comes the troll. A large creature came crashing through the underbrush, waving heavy sticks, smashing at things, using all kinds of words that Puffin thought only her father knew. Lost my key. Where in blazes is my key? Can't get into the mountain without it. Blasted key, he kept roaring in a strangled voice. Let me show you. Look at him. He does look mad. Two little critters behind him. Don't know what they are, but we'll find out, I suppose. Where did you put it? He yelled, turning around, scolding what the girls had assumed were three shaggy haystacks. Troll ladies! Oh, troll ladies, whispered T. I'm getting all excited. And when they looked harder, Puffin and Mole did see that these messy mounds of hay were three mad-looking old women who were hobbling after the troll, denying anything to do with the key. They look like you when you haven't brushed your hair, whispered Mole to Puffin. Oh, yeah, said Puffin as she gave Mole a good shove, which toppled Mole out from behind the blueberry bush. What's that? Thundered the troll, glaring at Mole. He was huge. He looked like an overweight Viking with long orange hair and a mustache full of burrs and dead leaves. He had fierce red eyes and muscles like lumpy rocks across his big shoulders. Mole felt like a mole. She tried to sink into the earth, but it didn't work. Have you looked in your pocket? She asked in a very small voice. The troll automatically put his hand into a big leather bag that he was wearing. He brought out a large black iron key about the size of an ice skate. He glared at it. He brandished it in the air and started toward poor cowering Mole. One of the troll ladies tittered. Then the other two leaned against each other, cackling like crows. Ho! Bellowed the troll turning on them. So you think it is funny that I locked out and almost turned into a rock? I see you were locked out too, or you wouldn't be haystacks. Now back to the mountain, get! And he drove them before him back into the woods. Away, away they went, sounding like a storm subsiding in the distance. Close shave, said T, rubbing his crew cut. My hair is still standing on end. Feel. Puffin put her hand on his head, and it felt just like her mother's wire suede shoe brush. Only thing trolls are afraid of is dogs, said T. We've got a big one, said Puffin. Bring it next time. Oh no, giggled Mole. Sydney will barely be able to get through the tunnel. So bring him, reiterated T. Might come in handy with her. He doesn't like dogs either. She doesn't like dogs either. I'll ask Mummy if Sydney can come, said